Oh my God! Get the hell out of here!
We can talk about Rodgers.
Out of here!
Okay, what is the need to bring up the Yankees?
It's just stuff to bring up because
Are you kidding me? Come on, dude! This came out of nowhere!
not. Clemson is a top team. Don't start with that. Clemson's a top team, no doubt, 100%.
Unless they're on Saturday, then they might move down.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back with episode number 77. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button. If you're not, we have a great episode for you guys today. Last episode, if you haven't checked it out, Go Chat Jeopardy. I won. Spoiler alert. I probably shouldn't have spoiled it. But anyways, go watch it. Really fun episode, but we got a good episode. We're gonna go back into the routine of the current things in sports. But nonetheless, go of the number. We're on 77. We're plugging and chucking. We're getting there to 100. Connor, I'm going to start with you. Actually, I'm going to start with Mike. Mike, who's your go number 77?
Ouch.
Sorry, Connor. Number one in goal picks always goes first. Anyways, I'm kidding.
Where did Connor finish in Jeopardy? I forgot.
Dead last.
Oh, are you serious? Go back and watch it. All right.
There you go, Tommy. Nice plug. Anyways, there's one person only for to go with the number 77, and that's Ray Borg. He's one of the best defensemen of all time, probably right behind Bobby Orr. He's a Hall of Famer, one-time Cup winner, 19-time All-Star, won the Calder Trophy in 79 and 80, and won the Clancy Memorial Trophy in 91 and 92. Plus, he's a 5 times Norris winner, meaning he was voted the best defenseman in all of the NHL 5 times out of his I don't know 23 years playing in the NHL. He was just absolutely dominant. Over 1,500 points, almost average a point per game as a defenseman, especially in more of a modern-ish era of hockey, given that he played all the way up until 2000. So Ray Borg is so impressive, shut down defenseman, and also gave you that offensive production. So it has to be him.
See, Connor, I let him go first so you could piggyback off that. Connor, we gotta go.
You know what? I'm going to agree. Mike said all the amazing stats, and you went in long-winded. I'm going to agree with Ray Borg.
And Tommy.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. It's my honorable mention. But I'm going to go with Ivan Pudge Rodriguez today. And, Pudge played in 2,543 games in his career.
No.
What do you mean no? I'm going into it.
He played in 93 games with the number 77. 93! Give me the stats only for those games.
Well, I'd prefer not to, Connor. I'm going to give you his whole career. So Pudge had he had 311 career home runs, 296 lifetime hitter, which is very impressive. And you want to focus on those 93 games with Houston where he wore 77. He was okay. 251. He had 8 home runs, 34 RBIs. He had some production there for Houston. So,
all right.
Disputed me. But no, Pudge is a Hall of Famer, 7-time Silver Slugger, 13-time Gold Glover.
Tommy, I hate to break it to you, but I don't think batting 250 with 8 home runs and 30-something RBIs will get you into the Hall of Fame.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Tommy, I don't think you're understanding the concept of go the number after.
I understand. I just want to recognize his full career.
No, Tommy. You said off air you just wanted to pick a baseball player.
Well, yeah, because I haven't done it in how many episodes?
So you're stretching for 92 games of Pudge Rodriguez's career?
Adam Wainwright was better than this.
What?
Picking Adam Wainwright was a far and above.
Well, Adam Wainwright, he's absolutely tremendous. And, hey, that's my pick. What can I say? It's not like I went with Clint Frazier. No disrespect to Clint Frazier.
I think Clint Frazier would have been a better pick. Like, honestly.
I'm going with a Hall of Famer.
He played
number 7 for his career.
All right, Matt, go ahead. Tommy's smoking something before he got on the show. Anyways, Matt, go ahead.
I'm not going to go with Hot Fudge Boy over there. I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with Ray Bork. That's the easiest pick in a while, at least. Just
Not even close.
Boston legend. Tommy took up like 6 minutes already, so I don't want to talk too much. But no, Ray Bork was just such a great defender in the history of hockey. Like Mike said, behind Bobby Orr. But no, it's not gonna be Pudge Boy. It's not for me.
So shout out to Tyron Smith, left tackle for the Cowboys.
Shout
Tommy,
out-
I am utterly disappointed.
And shout out Luka Doncic.
Hey,
Oh my god.
One day he could contend.
Yeah, one day he'll definitely be out on this list. But
He beats Pudge Boy.
no, he doesn't. Not even close. Pudge is a Hall of Famer.
I do want to say Ivan Rodriguez's career as a whole, one of the best catches of all time. As number 77, subpar.
he's like a minor leaguer with 77. Anyways, that wraps up this segment. Another good go to the number segment just to get us back in the flow of things after Jeopardy last week. So let's hop right into our actual segments. Welcome back to Go Chat, and today we're going to cover the NFL. There are a bunch of events that happened this past week. Dak Prescott finally got signed by Dallas. A lot of cuts all across the league. Chiefs cut both their tackles. Saints are cutting guys left and right. The Bucks got Brady, tagged Godwin, re-signed Levante David. So much stuff to go through. But let's start off with arguably the best free agent that was going to be in the market, Dak Prescott. He re-signed with the Cowboys for 4 years. Am I wrong?
No, you're probably not, but it's just funny. It was just funny.
4 years, 160 million with 126 guaranteed. He's going to be receiving 75 million in the first year, but once again, that's not his cap hit. His cap is like 22 and a half this year. So the Cowboys actually save money. But nevertheless, Matt, what do you think about this signing for Dak and the Cowboys?
The Cowboys overpay another player. Let's go. Good for them. I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting Dak, which is a plus, to be honest, because it's going to be a little difficult finding another quarterback. Dak's been a good quarterback there in Dallas, but you're overpaying the guy, and we even see like the Chiefs are struggling right now. They have to release offensive tackles, and Mahomes' money hasn't even really hit in yet. To be honest, like it's going to hit in a couple of years. So I think you're overpaying another quarterback. It's partially the market. I bet Lamar or Josh Allen's going to get paid a lot, but I'm not for overpaying quarterbacks, and I just think Dak is being overpaid. I mean, I will give Cowboys the credit of how they did it, like tagging him and that stuff. Like that was a smart move, but still, at the end of the day, you're overpaying the guy who is coming off an ankle injury, which is not his fault, but still. I mean, an ankle injury an injury like that can be detrimental, but you can look at it many sides, but I just think you're overpaying the guy.
Connor, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree with Matt wholeheartedly. Cowboys are overpaying Dak. And, here's my biggest problem with it. And I mentioned this on Matt and my spinoff of this Follow the Herd that's live on VIC radio. But when you break your ankle, which sucks. He should have already been under contract last year.
Yeah,
it sucks that Dallas put him on the tag last year. But after you break an ankle, and I know I have a plate in my right ankle. I broke my ankle before. The rehab for it sucks. And I'm not going back to be playing a physical sport in football where he is, and you're going to have 300-pound linemen running at you. I'm just concerned that we're putting a lot of money into a basket right now that we don't know what kind of production we're going to get out of it. Dak Prescott, undoubtedly a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but we saw it with Carson Wentz after he tore his ACL, MVP season. Since then, it's been all downhill. Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz are different quarterbacks, but an injury could be detrimental to a quarterback's success, especially when it's a leg injury, especially to a quarterback who is mobile.
Tommy, what do you think? Matt and Connor are kind of on the boat that he got overpaid. Are you going to hop on that ship with them?
I agree. I mean, I think they definitely overpaid, like you said, especially coming off the injury. I I mean, $40 million a year, that's that's a lot of money for anybody. And then the question marks that surround him just in terms of a health perspective, I think it's way too much. But at the same time, he's incredibly talented. We all know what he's able to do when he's healthy. And, hopefully they can build a team around him. I mean, he hasn't really been given the opportunity, to succeed there in Dallas. But, I certainly think he can help get them there the
Debatable.
next level. What?
I would say that's a little debatable, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been terrible when he's been there, right? Like, they're not good. Nothing against your team, Mike. But, I hope that he can win a Super Bowl. He certainly has the potential. But, yeah, I think they definitely overpaid. I mean, 4 years, 160 million. I saw that and I couldn't believe it. But
$66 million signing bonus.
oh my goodness, what are they doing over there in Dallas? Jerry Jones is just like, yeah, take whatever you want, Dak. Oh boy. Well,
Howdy's face.
but I'm happy for you, Mike. I'm glad that he's back, got that contract all settled. But
Mike, I hope as a Cowboys fan, you're not giving Jerry Jones any credit for this deal.
Oh no, I'm not giving Jerry Jones any credit for this deal. This deal should have been done 2 years ago. I've said it multiple times in the show how ridiculous Jerry Jones and how hesitant he was just to pay Dak what he earned over the past 5 years. He's been one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's just been that really stable, calming presence in that Cowboys locker room. And this deal should have been done 2 years ago before Carson Wentz, before Jared Goff. And we're probably looking at a 4-year, $120 million contract, which is around $30 million a year. So 4 years, $160 million. That's a lot of money. I totally agree with you guys. But here's the reason why I don't think he's overpaid. Just because it's what the market bears. If you want a franchise quarterback, arguably, I'd say top 5 quarterback, but the more consensus is like top 8, right? But I'm just saying, someone that talented, right? What are your alternatives? Especially, it's just the way that the market bears. Matt Stafford was the highest paid QB in the league. Derek Carr was the highest paid QB in the league. Jimmy G was the highest paid QB in the league. Obviously, it's not like the best thing that you could do in terms of team building, right? But for someone as good as Dak, you just gotta swallow that pill. You know what I mean? Because the alternatives going back to having no quarterback, to having Andy Dalton, Ben DiNucci, and Gary Gilbert starting, it's just too bleak. There are no other alternatives for the Cowboys unless you trade up for a quarterback, which is going to cost more draft capital. So you can't rebuild your defense, at least now, especially with the cap hit being $22.5 million. If the Cowboys tagged him again, they're saving $15 million, and then they're able to restructure. They just restructured Lau Collins, Zach Martin, and Tyron Smith's contract. So now they have $20 million in cap space. And a lot of these free agents are going to want 1 or 2 year prove-it deals, and the Cowboys are going to have cap space to sign a couple of these impact defensive players.
No
right?
free agent wants a prove-it deal. That's not a deal that free agents want. That's a deal that GMs want to do. Free agents don't want prove-it deals. Free agents want
They want prove-it deals.
want,
so when the cap increases the next couple of years, because obviously the cap decreased this year because of COVID, and that's why we're having all of these cuts. But they want a prove-it deal, so they don't want to be tied down for a long time because these teams aren't able to pay them the normal amount of money that they usually would be able to get. Right?
I can guarantee you, if I'm Juju Smith-Schuster, a 24-year-old wide receiver in the NFL, I don't want a 1-year deal. I want security with a team as a 24 wide receiver who's hitting my prime. I'm not taking a prove-it deal. If I'm choosing between a 1-year deal and a 4-year deal that's worth the same amount of money, I'm taking that 4-year deal all day. Security is important right now in the NFL with the cap hit, with the cap room going down. Yes, it will potentially go back up next year, but with the cap going where it is, security is important in the NFL.
I also think with the ego of some players, they're not going to take that deal just because everyone's chasing the bag. They're chasing the money. JJ Watt chased the money, even though he said he wanted to go to a championship contending team. I don't think anyone's going to want to take a prove it deal unless
I'm not saying prove it deal. I'm just saying a shorter term deal because they're going to have a chance to cash in 1 or 2 years in the future and get a much larger contract, right? So I think the Cowboys are positioning themselves for that. And then you add on to the fact there are two voidable years at the end of Dak Prescott's contract, so they could convert his signing bonus and spread it out over 6 years instead of just 4, right? And that's one thing that I have to give Jerry Jones credit for, is that he's really good with handling the cap, and the Cowboys are pretty darn good drafters, right? They drafted Dak, they drafted all these guys that they've re-signed, and you could argue that they overpaid them, whatever, but they know how to draft, right? And then they got a big draft with a bunch of compensatory picks coming up this year, right? So I think the Cowboys are in a good position. They're probably going to win the NFC East this year, and I think that they'll be competitive in a bunch of playoff games and win 1 or 2.
What makes the Cowboys team this year any different from the team last year? When they had Dak under center, they were 1-3, and he was scrambling around. Zeke didn't have any holes in the offensive line all year. What makes this team different?
The offensive line health is going to hopefully be back. Lyle Collins is supposedly healthy, right? He was out all last year. Tyron Smith was out for a bunch of games. Their center, Joe Looney, who got replaced by a rookie last year, he was banged up. Zach Martin was banged up. And Connor Williams wasn't playing well to start the season. But as the season progressed, Connor Williams started playing better. Tyler Beedish is going to be their starting center this year, which is what I'm happy about. So I think their health on their offensive line was a concern last year, and it's still a concern moving forward, given that Tyron Smith has missed a bunch of games, right? But their offensive line is still pretty solid if they stay healthy. And I just want to touch on that point that you made about Dak's health. He's supposed to be healthy by April. There's like a 4 to 6 month.
Yeah, but that's not
Doesn't
what
matter.
he's bringing up. You
Hold on.
see players get hurt all the time, and then they don't play the same. That's what he's bringing up. It has nothing to do with his timetable.
He can be 100%, but you can't tell me that he's just going to run out on the field and not be timid about a bone popping back out of his leg.
I
You
think
can't tell me he's not
slide
gonna-
a little more. He had a second ankle surgery that he needed anyways, right? Because the reason why his ankle snapped like that, because it was already weak from taking a bunch of hits before. So he got a surgery that he would have already needed. So his ankle reportedly, obviously this is just according to reports, is coming back stronger than before, right? And we'll see over the course of the offseason how that pans out, and we'll see in the actual regular season. But I'm much more confident about Dak's ankle than I would be for an ACL injury like Carson Wentz had, or an Achilles tear or something like that.
Like, I'm just telling you, through psychology of injuries, I've gone through it. I have a broken ankle. I haven't gone out and tried to track down a fly ball on a baseball field since I broke my ankle because I'm scared of stepping in another hole. I'm just saying that same realization is going to come on to Dak. It's just the psychology of an injury in sports. He's going to be timid. And I'm just concerned that they're paying way too much money for a quarterback who can now be past his prime because of an injury.
I mean, past his prime, he's 27. Even if he is timid, he'll get over it in 5 games. Connor, I've sprained my ankle and I was out for months. It was a very bad sprain, right? And I was timid when I came back too. But you're eventually going to get over it. And I think the summer, going back to OTAs and mini camp and training camp, I think that's going to help him get back. And hopefully they have a couple of preseason games so Dak can get back to the way he was. He might not be perfect to start, but I'm saying this is a great deal for Dallas. They finally got it done. It's much better than tagging him and paying him even more the next offseason. It seems like every offseason, the people who are saying, no, don't pay Dak this amount of money, pay him this amount of money. That was the going rate last offseason. And the offseason before that, $38 million, that was last offseason before Deshaun got paid. Just get the deal done, swallow the pill, and wipe your hands clean. You're done. You finally got the deal done. You got your franchise quarterback. That's it.
I just think you have too high of expectations for Dak coming off the injury. And that's totally fair. You're a Cowboys fan and you want to see him succeed. But I think your expectations are just a little bit too high on a guy who, in my opinion, it was a risk to give this type of contract to, coming off of an injury of that scenario.
What I would look at with the Cowboys is yes, their cap is good right now, but by any means, they're not a win now team. They're not going to go out there and go to the Super Bowl. I hate to break it to you, Mike, but we look at Dak's contract. Next year, it's going to go to 33.2 million. The year after that, 44.2 million, 47.2 million. Then you got Amari Cooper, who's consistently staying at 22 million at the cap hit. You got Ezekiel Elliott going from 13.7 to 16.5. And then you got DeMarcus Lawrence, who is going from 25 million to 27 million, then to 29 million. So what I'm looking at that is the Cowboys, can they make it to the Super Bowl in the next 5 years? Sure, they probably can. But with the cap hit and with Dak's cap going to come in, Amari's cap going to was that's the one that was staying. Ezekiel's money going to come in, and then DeMarcus Lawrence's money going to come in. They're going to struggle in the next couple of years with the cap.
Yeah.
And they're not a win now team by any means.
No, Matt, you're 100% right in this scenario. But I think Jerry Jones, he's really good. I'll give him credit for one thing. He's really good at managing the cap. They're not going to go out and sign like these, $100 million free agents, right? But I think that they'll still have enough cap room to fill in the gaps that they need. And they've positioned themselves to either move on from Jalen Smith this next coming offseason or Ezekiel Elliott, because they haven't restructured any of their contracts. So they haven't moved it further back like they did with their offensive linemen, which they can. But I think because they haven't, that means that they don't have much confidence in their abilities moving forward, and they're looking to get out of those bad contracts that they signed. I hope in my heart of hearts that, Jerry Jones pulls something magical off this offseason and they make it the Super Bowl. That's probably very unlikely to happen, but I think that they can still be a competitive team. And in the NFL, that's a lot of the time, that's really all you can ask for. The cap hit for all those players is worrying, but this is the best option for the Cowboys.
I don't know. I think they're going to win the NFC East because how weak it is, but I think they're going to just be an 8-8, 9-7 team. I don't see them going anywhere else. They got to fix that defense first. Their offense is fine.
Mike, you can't make a face at that. It's a very real possibility. Since Dak's been the quarterback of the Cowboys, his rookie year they went 12-4, and since that it's been 8-8 and 9-7.
I think they went 11-5.
11-5, whatever. It's just it's been inconsistency since his rookie year. And not all of that is on Dak by any means. He's been a very good quarterback for the team. But now when we're giving out all these big contracts, and we talked about over and over again last NFL season about how bad Dallas's defense is and about how much Dak had to put out on the line those first 4 weeks in the end of his season just to keep his team in the games. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere until a defense is fixed. So yes,
100%.
You need your franchise quarterback in the NFL. They needed Dak Prescott to be on the Cowboys, but at what cost?
So it was 8-8, 10-6, 9-7, 13-3. Just to correct that out there. Not counting last year.
You guys are 100% on the defense, and they aren't going anywhere significant without a defense. I'm just hoping that they can rebuild through the draft, and sign some good key free agents, and maybe they could build through there. But I think we're both on. Even though you guys think the Cowboys overpaid for him, the Cowboys need Dak. Right?
I hate to break it to you, Mike. Everyone thinks they overpaid for him except Cowboys fans. I've talked to multiple people. Nobody thinks that. Everyone thinks it was overpaid except Cowboys fans. I'm telling you that.
I really don't think that, but
ask anybody.
It's what the market bears. It's just what
Like, he doesn't deserve more money than Deshaun Watson. He just doesn't.
I understand you don't think that, but what are the alternatives? Sure, he was overpaid a couple $1 million a year. Sure, I'll say that. I'll say I wouldn't have wanted him to pay $40 million, maybe like 37 or 38, right? But you just got to lock him up because the alternatives are so bleak. You just got to do it. It's $2 million a year. Like, you just swallow the pill and move on from it.
Okay, that's not the point I was trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is everyone thinks he's overpaid except Cowboys fans. You don't have to go record player again and just tell me your whole spiel from the beginning. I understand that. But everybody thinks he's overpaid except Cowboys fans. I've talked to multiple people. They think he's overpaid. That's all I'm going to say. So you can think whatever you want. It's fine. I just think Cowboys are going to struggle 8-8, 9-7, consistently stay just like Tony Romo. I'm pretty sure they paid him, and the same thing
The
happened.
same thing is going to happen to Dak that happened to Tony Romo. Tony Romo had 2 career playoff wins. I don't see Dak getting much more than 2.
He already has one.
He's already got 1, so maybe like 3.
I-
Give him a little more. Just bump him up like 3 wins.
Okay. I think you guys are wrong about that, but we've talked enough about that. I could literally talk about him all day, but let's move on to some other NFL off-season moves. Let's go to the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Bucks. They tagged Chris Godwin. They re-signed Levante David, 2 years, $25 million, and then they just extended Brady for a year, adding on 3 voidable a year, so they could spread that money across. So, Tommy, I'll get your reaction first. What do you think? How do you think the Bucks are approaching this offseason, and how do you think they've done so far?
Well, I think it's been good so far. Obviously, coming off of the Super Bowl win, they want to be right back there. Tom Brady, that's a big move right there, of course. Bringing him back, no surprise though. I mean, what he was able to do for that team this year to really elevate them to the next level was great. And like you said, Chris Godwin, he had a good season, right? 7 touchdowns, 840 yards, 65 receptions. So, that's another good move for them. And, I think they're doing all the right things, Super Bowl winners and trying to keep it rolling.
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, you know, Tom Brady obviously saving 19 million off the Bucks cap is huge. He's been doing that his whole career. That's something that I think a lot of quarterbacks need to take some notes. So that was a great move. I like how Tom does that too. I think, more quarterbacks need, because you need an offensive line, you need a defense to win a Super Bowl. So that was a good move. And then obviously Levante David, such a leader on the defensive end. I don't know necessarily if I would have re-signed him, but nonetheless, he's a great player. I'm not trying to say he's not, but with their cap issues, I would have maybe hesitated signing him. But great leader on the defensive end. Great to have him back for them. And then obviously Godwin is such a good receiver. I mean, I personally didn't think that they would be able to keep him. I thought he would be over to Jacksonville or Jets, team like that. But also, yeah, keeping him back with Mike Evans, Antonio Brown. That's just the Bucks are just an NFC staying as an NFC contender. Obviously, getting these guys back. So you gotta love the loyalty here, seeing how they want to keep their guys.
Connor, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the team's just making all the right moves. They're just making all, and Tom Brady, as Matt said, you got to respect him for doing what he did to take the cap hit to be able to have Tampa Bay to come and re-sign their guys and run it back for another Super Bowl championship. So Tampa Bay is making all the right moves. As Matt mentioned, their cap issues. I'm going to be interested to see if they can make any sort of splash in free agency that opens up on Monday. But yeah, as far as I know, the Super Bowl champs are making all the right moves to stay atop.
Yeah, 100%. They are just positioning themselves for becoming another Super Bowl contender again this year. Levante David, I thought he was going to at least get 2 years, 30 million. I was kind of shocked with how cheap his deal was, given that he was such a key piece of their defense last year. And keeping Chris Godwin was also really big for them. And really, their only question mark is what's going on with Shaq Barrett, and are they going to be able to re-sign him? I probably don't think so, but that's just one player out of their whole defense. I think they'll have players that can come in and not necessarily totally replace his production, but still give you some quality downs, right? But I think the Bucks are making a lot of good moves. One thing I thought that could have been a possibility if they let Chris Godwin go, maybe sign Juju Smith Schuster instead to a long-term deal. I think he would be cheaper than Chris Godwin, and he plays kind of that same role in like the slot that Chris Godwin does. But the Bucks, they're going to be really good again this year. That's pretty much all I have to say about it.
Anyone else have final thoughts about the Bucks before we move into Chiefs news? So this week, the Chiefs ended up releasing both their offensive tackles, Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher. Eric Fisher was the number one pick, I'm pretty sure, in the 2016 draft, if I'm correct. Big losses. Uh, Connor, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think about this? The two losses of some good offensive line players.
You know, we saw it in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes was scrambling because of his offensive line or the lack of an offensive line, 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And when you lose your two offensive tackles, arguably the two most important positions on an offensive line, guarding your blind side and then your front way view, it's going to be tough for Patrick Mahomes to succeed. He's an incredible athlete, and I still think he's going to be an incredible quarterback in the NFL. But I said it this morning on Follow the Herd. I think because of this move, unless Kansas City can make a splash in free agency and get another offensive lineman, their championship success is past. Yes, they're getting back a guard in Tardif who was away this past year, a doctor on the front lines for COVID, so all respect to him. But an offensive tackle is incredibly important on an offensive line. And if you can't have success, and we see Patrick Mahomes keep scrambling and making throws laterally to the ground to try to complete a pass, they're not going to find themselves back in the Super Bowl.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was really shocked that they cut both their starting tackles. I really have no idea what their plan is moving forward, especially considering how much they struggled last year in the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's not going to happen every game for Patrick Mahomes, but it's going to be something like that where he's running for his life every day. I mean, every game, right? And they got to do something. Whether they draft a couple tackles, but still, they aren't going to be as good as an All-Pro and Mitchell Schwartz, and even Eric Fisher was pretty rock solid for them. So I think both these are huge losses for the Chiefs, and they aren't the Super Bowl favorites anymore, just given their lack of an offensive line. No matter how good their weapons are, no matter how many playmakers they have on defense, they need to shore up that offensive line. It's one of the most important position groups in all of football.
Tommy, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised by the moves as well. And another thing too with Mahomes, they're gonna restructure his deal, to try to save some cap space. So yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what they're doing over there. But I'm sure it'll work out for them. They're a great organization. So I'm sure they'll get the team where it needs to be by the start of the year. But yeah, definitely some interesting moves going on there in Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think Kansas City's Super Bowl window is closed just yet because, you don't know what they're going to do in the offseason. They could also have a really good draft and draft some really good tackles. Maybe they're looking at a guy or something like that. But I don't think they're not my number one favorite anymore. I don't think in the AFC. I'd probably go with the Bills. And then possibly if everything goes right, maybe the Colts can make a splash there too, with the Chiefs still contending at 3-4 around there. But nonetheless, I think they're still going to be the Chiefs. We're still going to know them as a really good team. And, this is what I was talking about. Mahomes, take notes. Brady's always been taking these saving contract deals to save some players. So I think if some quarterbacks did that, we would see better overall teams instead of just really top heavy, offenses versus, a not that good of a defense. But nonetheless, I think Chiefs are still in it to win it. And I'm interested to see what they do this offseason with the tackle positions and especially that offensive line.
Well, to be fair about Brady, he is married to like $100 million supermodel, unlike a lot of these other quarterbacks. But I agree with you, Matt, that quarterbacks should probably not be taking as much.
What does that point have to do with anything, right?
Giselle made him eat healthy. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying that's probably a big reason why he's taking all these pay cuts, given that his wife makes a ton of money, right? And a lot of these other quarterbacks are just not married to any woman making that amount of money. But I digress. Moving on. Matt, take us to the next topic.
I mean, Shailene Woodley, Rogers, he's getting married to an actress, but no. I guess that makes sense, Mike. But still, it's still a lot of money nonetheless.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah. Any final thoughts about the NFL offseason free agency? We're gonna have some more news, obviously.
I'm so excited. So excited for free agency. Jets are going to be the most improved team. 100%. Mark it down.
Who's going to be their quarterback?
Good question. If we're going to talk about that really, really fast. Juju Smith-Schuster becomes a Jet.
Not going to.
Sam Darnold's the quarterback. They played together at USC. Juju wants to play with Sam. I think that's a connection. If they go out and they get a Kenny Galladay or a Curtis Samuel or other receivers, Will Fuller, I think you move on. You get Zach Wilson, get a receiver that can stretch the field. You can throw the bomb. No matter what, Jets are the most improved team at the end of free agency. You can mark it down.
Well, I think that's a first where any other player has wanted to play with Sam Darnold. But anyways, Matt, go ahead.
I think that it's easy to say Jaguars are going to be most improved. 100%. Getting Trevor Lawrence is just going to be so different. But this is a whole different conversation. We're going to skip go picks. We're still going to have go picks for yesterday with Championship Sunday. But we're going to Championship Saturday. So we're going to skip that and go right into Go of the Week next.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are now here with our Goat of the Week segment. Matt won last week with Buddy Boeheim, Syracuse guard/forward. Hitting 1,000 points and had a really good
guard, not forward, Connor. What are you talking about?
He's just so tall. He's so tall. I consider him both. He's a good player. You know what, Matt? Start us off.
Okay. Well, if it ain't broke, what is that saying?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm gonna go with Buddy Boeheim again. In all reality, he had the best games of his career, to be honest. March is a different Buddy. He hit 31 against Virginia. They did lose, but to be honest, they were in it because of Buddy, especially at the end of the game. The game before that, when they absolutely demolished NC State, he had 27. And, they're going to be dancing. They're going to be dancing, and that is because of Buddy Boeheim. I got my orange with me. And they're going to be dancing. Just wait. Later today, Selection Sunday, they're going to be in the last four in. They're going to be the playing game. Buddy Boeheim's going to get like 40 against either Drake or Colorado State, whoever they play. They're going to be a sleeper in the tournament. I got my orange with me.
Tommy, Go to the Week.
Yeah, well, Matt, I think it's a great pick with Buddy Boeheim. I'm going to go with Jock Peterson of the Chicago Cubs. He's had an incredible spring so far. You take a look at the past week, he has 10 hits, 4 home runs. Let's take a look at RBIs. 7 RBIs this week. He's just been outstanding. So got to go with Jock. He's hitting .579 on the spring, which is just, it's remarkable. And his OPS is 2,110. It's only spring training, but he's been great for them, and hopefully can provide them with a boost. Juggling over there, Matt. But he's had a great spring, great past week, so I gotta go with Jock today.
Matt, put the orange down before you drop it again.
Okay.
Put it down. You're gonna put more bruises on it, and then Syracuse isn't gonna get in. Come on.
They got enough bruises. All right, let's keep going.
Mike, Go to the Week. Don't rush me.
I'm going with the best player in the NHL, Connor McDavid. He has had 8 points the past 3 games, 2 goals and 6 assists. Wait, no. Yeah, 2 goals and 6 assists. I'm sorry.
Oh God, he can't even bring the right stats.
I questioned my math for a second. I'm sorry. 2 goals and 6 assists the past 3 games, totaling 8 points. He, all these, Buddy Boeheim, Jock Peterson, is great. I personally wouldn't vote for a jockstrap or an orange. Vote for the best player in the NHL, Connor McDavid. Book it down.
Disrespect.
Go ahead, Connor. Who's your vote?
I'm gonna go with the best player in college basketball.
Buddy Boeheim.
Cade Cunningham of the Oklahoma State. They beat Baylor yesterday in the Big 12 championship semifinals game they weren't supposed to win. 12 seed versus the 2 seed. Oklahoma State upset Baylor in due part to Cade Cunningham. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 3-pointers, almost solidifying himself to be the number 1 overall pick in this upcoming NBA's draft. He had a great game. And you know what? You can pick Connor McDavid. He rides around on skates. You can pick around Jock Peterson. You can pick Jock
I'd
Peterson.
like to see you ride around on skates, kind of.
Like I can't. But he rides around on skates.
Baseball.
Jock Peterson just tries to hit baseballs. Buddy Boeheim is a player because of his dad's the coach. Cade Cunningham, incredible basketball player. Lock it down. Go to
You know what? No, I'm not going to take this. You can take your Syracuse fandom somewhere else. Because, first of all, you didn't even know that we ran 2-3 zone forever since Jim Boeheim's been there. And now you're saying Buddy Boeheim's only on the team because of his dad. He could have went to Gonzaga. He didn't. He stayed home. You know what, Connor? I'm done. This episode is done. I'm done. Tommy, you want to say something? You could say it.
Yeah, I mean, even I knew they ran the 2-3 zone, but
Even I knew they ran the 2-3 zone. Come on, Connor.
Connor. Hey, Connor's got to brush up on his Go Chat knowledge, first of all. I mean, third place in the Jeopardy. But, hey.
You have to brush up on knowledge that's not baseball. You went with freaking Ivan Rodriguez for 77 because you just wanted to pick a baseball player.
He's passionate about his sport, Connor.
Wow, what a hostile finish to this episode. Oh my god.
Anyway.
You don't come for the Syracuse players, man.
I am a Syracuse fan.
Oh, you're
But
not.
at the end of the day, we are arguing for the GOAT of the week. Am I not? We always talk trash. About each other's picks.
You
not?
went a whole nother level though. You went
A whole
past.
nother-
Do
I
we
went-
not?
You said Connor McDavid rides around on skates. How could you? How disrespectful. How spiteful of you.
Cade
Get
Cunningham.
him out of here.
Cade Cunningham is the best name on this week's GOAT of the Week platter, and you will pick Cade Cunningham to be the GOAT of the Week because it's the right pick.
You know what? You can't just demand it, first of all. And second of all, Connor McDavid does run around on skates, but you watch a sport where the guy sits there and swings a freaking bat. Then he runs all the way to one base, stays there for like 5 minutes, and then runs to another base. And then after that, he runs to the next base. And oh wait, if he swings it, and oh my gosh, all they have to do is it's an out. You watch that sport. So you cannot say anything about Connor McDavid running around on skates because that's not what they do.
Tommy, rebuttal.
Done.
I mean, first of all, baseball.
No, Tommy, be quiet for a second.
Don't tell Tommy to be quiet.
I want to pile on to Connor even more. Not even about baseball, but about golf. You watch men stand there, stationary, swing a club, not even as cool as baseball, and then they walk to their ball,
What are they
which is
supposed
probably in the woods.
have to get on motorcycles and like.
Mike,
Golf carts. They can't
Mike.
even walk there.
Mike,
That's what they are. Golf players are peasants.
they're peasants? Mike, I would love to see you out on a golf course and put a ball as close as they do, as accurate as they do. It's one of the hardest sports on the freaking circuit.
And I would love to see you try to play some hockey out there, man. You would get brutalized.
I'd like to see Buddy Boeheim succeed without his dad. That's why he's not going into the NBA, because he can't succeed.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
it's been a
Thank
great
you, Matt.
episode of Go Chat.
I think that wraps up this episode. Before Connor gets back in here, starts yelling more blasphemy. Let's wrap it up right now. Thank you guys for an episode. Tommy, Matt, I love you. Connor, please just don't come back for this episode. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Always hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Smash that like button. Follow us on all our socials, and we will see you next time.